Hey everybody, thank you for joining us on episode number 3 of Bluecast. It is good to have you with us. I'm your host, Mouse. Before we get started today, I've been asked to define what woo-woo is, because this channel, what we do here is we dive deep in the woo-woo so that you don't have to. Basically, what woo-woo is any kind of spiritual practice or belief or ritual or things like that that fall outside of the accepted norm of what we would view like a spiritual practice. So this would include things like saying crystals are magic, any kind of like witchcraft related activity. Yeah, that's pretty much what woo-woo is. I hope that helps the folks out there who are scratching their heads wondering what the fuck I was talking about. So today on Bluecast, what we're going to be talking about is trip sitting, which is a cool thing to do for a cool friend. And you'll be a cool friend if you do that for your cool friend. Basically, what trip sitting is being, a rock for somebody while they're tripping balls. They're out on Mars and you're here on Earth and you want to just help ensure their safety. That's all it is. They have been doing this for a long time. There's these folks called shamans, you may be familiar with the term, who have been guiding people through, ayahuasca trips or just using plant medicine on people for thousands of years. And actually, this practice is not just in South America, as a lot of people believe. It is all over the world, as you can see on this lovely map. Thanks, Wikipedia. So shamans have guided people through ayahuasca trips, mushroom trips, and even drugs that maybe have been lost to time, like soma, or there's a Greek one, kykeon, I think is how it's pronounced. I don't know. We got a Greek friend who we're going to bring on to talk about that in another episode. So a more modern version of a shaman would be this lady named Maria Sabina. She was born in 1894 and died in 1985. She would do healing ceremonies using, Mazatec chants, tobacco smoke, mezcal consumption, ointments from plants, all sorts of stuff. But she was most well known for guiding people through mushroom trips. She would usually do these sort of like rituals at night because she felt that she was accompanied by the stars, the kingdoms of the afterlife, to help guide her, patients through this experience. But, it's 2022. We don't necessarily need to be guided by the stars anymore to be a good trip sitter. We can just use YouTube. Isn't that great? So when do you need a trip sitter? Well, you need a trip sitter if you have no experience or very little experience. You would also want a trip sitter if you are experienced, but you're pushing the boundaries of what you're used to. So let's say you've done like a gram of mushrooms 5 times. You might want a trip sitter if you eat an eighth of mushrooms. It's about how comfortable you are with the substance. So how do you find a trip sitter? What experience level do you want out of a good trip sitter? Well, you want to make sure that they've done the dose that you're doing. If they haven't done the dose that you're doing, they're going to be lost because they don't understand necessarily what you're experiencing. So if you're eating an eighth of mushrooms, your trip sitter needs to have done at least an eighth of mushrooms for you to really know that they know sort of what's going on. You want somebody who's mature. Like, this is a pretty big deal. You don't want somebody that's going to be like, do you fucking feel it, man? Do you feel it? Are you tripping balls, dude? You feel this shit? What's going on? Are you fucking, how does this look? You don't want that. That's so bad. That's the worst possible person to have with you while you're tripping. The worst person. You want somebody who is going to be level-headed. Like, let's say you're tripping acid and all of a sudden you go into psychosis and you think that there are like wizards coming to get you, and you take off all of your clothes and you're like taking a shower in the kitchen. You want somebody who's not going to freak out about that. You want to have somebody around who's going to be like, oh, that's just the mushrooms. It's going to be all right, buddy. Let's get a robe on you. Let's get you tucked back into the the chill zone. You don't want somebody who's going to be like, dude, I don't fucking know, man. Stop acting fucking weird. That's gonna like send you even further down the spiral. So very important to have somebody who's mature. So if you are a trip sitter, what do you do? Well, you can help them prepare for the trip. You can make sure that their set and setting is good, because part of the responsibility for this falls on you as well. If you've agreed to trip sit somebody and you arrange the trip to happen in like your grandma's living room, you're not a very good trip sitter, like already off the bat, unless grandma's hella fucking cool. You want to make sure that you're helping them get into a place that's feels safe for them, allows for them to like make noise, because sometimes people go into psychosis and will start yelling. So have a place where that's going to be okay. Another thing a trip sitter can do is like help pick out music or like activities to do. And it's not like you're forcing these activities on people. It's like you don't run up to them and say, hey, I know you're tripping balls, but now it's time to color. You don't do that. You just have like a bunch of stuff ready. So like you have like a cool like trippy playlist or whatever of music ready to go, or you have like art supplies off on the side. And like when the person's all fucked up and they're like asking you, you know, is there something that we can do? You've already got this in your head because you're sober, that there's art supplies over there, or there's like, you know, whatever it is. So while this person is tripping, what should you do? Like, what is the role of a trip sitter? Sorry, it's a little windy out here. Well, it's basically nothing. Basically nothing. Your job essentially is to sit there and be like another human being in the room, to let them know that like it's okay. If they ask you, is it okay? You can be like, yeah, dude, everything's totally chill. You're just like on drugs. Your job is not to direct their trip. You don't start asking them like real heady questions about the universe, or like speak cryptically. That's one of the worst things that you can do, is speaking cryptically to somebody who's tripping. It's like will almost always send them into a confused state. You want to be present and available, but not in their face. So I've heard sometimes that people will say the best trip sitter is in the next room over. I think that's fine. I think you could probably be in the same room and interact with the person who's tripping. Just try not to guide their experience, because the experience that they're having is all based within their head. So when you start adding like these external influences, it complicates that for people, and they might not be able to get their full intention out of the experience. So what happens if shit hits the fan? What happens when your guy is taking his clothes off and he says he's the king of France? Your job is to stay calm and collected. Your job is to be grounded in reality. Don't feed into any kind of don't be like, yeah, you are the king of France, you can do anything. Like, don't do that. That's bad. You can give reassurance. You can say it's okay. You can offer a hug. Another job that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to be the water boy. If they're tripping balls, they might not even be able to realize that they're thirsty, let alone go to the kitchen and pour themselves a glass of whatever. So, occasionally ask, like, hey, do you want some water? Can I get you some water? Or that's really easy to do and keeps them safe. Another thing that I recommend not doing is don't ask the person, how does it feel? Or how's your trip going? It's hard enough to describe, like, the normal goings on of reality, and then when you're tripping, and when somebody asks you to describe that, it totally can change like whatever that person was feeling. So let's say I'm in like a state of bliss and somebody asks me, how is my trip going? Well, now I have to change my focus from this awesome state that I was in to answer your question, and I'm going to have trouble describing that to you because you're sober or whatever and I'm fucked up. So don't do that. Don't ask people how's the trip going. Like, if they volunteer that information to you, you can talk about that. But like I said, like, don't guide the trip. And when you interject your own curiosities into somebody's experience, it's kind of like guiding it. It's not necessarily like you're telling them where to go with their trip, but you're changing the natural trajectory of their experience. So, what do you do if you don't have a trip sitter? There are some really cool resources that are available online. I will have those down in the description. Along with that, our Discord server, which we have a link to down there as well. We have a really great team of people who are staff vets, and they are deemed to be qualified to trip sit people over the internet. These are people that we found are experienced and not crazy and very nice, loving people. So, worst comes to worst, if you're having an experience, feel free to just join our Discord server and ask somebody for a trip sitter, and we will definitely help you with that. Another thing, like, just for the person tripping, it's good to have like a mindfulness or like breathing meditation practice before you get into tripping. This can just be something that you can fall back on your own, that you don't necessarily need to have a trip sitter for. It'll just help you return to center, and it's like a semi easy way to calm yourself down if you're having anxiety or whatever, and it's useful in the rest of your life as well. Mindfulness practice is a really good thing. Oh, another thing, I don't think it's a good idea for you to, like, if you're going to be a trip sitter, you probably shouldn't be tripping, just because the whole point of it is that there needs to be a sober person to, like, get help if needed. If it's, like, down to a situation where you're the designated trip sitter and somebody needs to, like, be driven to the hospital, you can't do that now because you're tripping. So if you're agreeing to be a trip sitter, then don't trip. So it's kind of a shorter video today, but I thought this was a good topic to talk about because a lot of people don't really know how to do that. So I hope this video helps. As always, feel free to go down in the comments. Let me know what you would like to see in our next videos. I'm always open to anybody's suggestions. This channel is here for everybody to get something out of it. I hope I'm doing a good job of that. Yeah, please remember to like and subscribe. I don't know if I have a notification bell down there. I hear people talking about that in videos. If I do have one, go ahead and hit that notification bell so that you get updated when I release new videos. We are going to be doing a cool giveaway here soon, so stay tuned for that. Also, in our Discord server, if you click the partner servers channel on the side, you can find a bunch of other cool communities that we've linked up with. We think it's a good idea to spread the love. So, yeah, until next time, spread love.